anatomy of a real life wholesale deal that was completed not too long ago. 6112 62nd place in Capitol Heights, Maryland. So on July 30th, I saw this property on the MLS when I was looking at bank-owned properties. This property was listed for 59.9. I noticed the property had been listed for 109 days. It had just been reduced from $85,900 down to 59.9. So that's like a over $25,000 price drop. The reason why was it had been under contract and the contract fell out. Often after a contract falls out, the price gets reduced because the bank wants to move it. So that's one tip for you. Some deals you're looking at that you don't get or go under contract, keep looking at them. Check to see if they close. If they don't close for any reason, you might want to jump on it. The property was listed as a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, but the MLS picture, the listing picture, showed a second house on a property, and a listing didn't mention a second house at all. So I researched the previous times the property had been listed and noticed that, number one, the property had been recently renovated about 2 years prior. And two, the property did have a second house that was, a house, 1 bedroom house, 1 bathroom, full kitchen, electric, plumbing. I mean, it was a real house, not a shack and not a garage. It was a real house. So I knew that was gonna, be an opportunity to present, some extra value there. Um, I ran comps and determined a conservative value after repair value of $180,000. So based on those numbers, it being worth 180 fixed up, it being on a market at $59,000, I went to take a look at it immediately. My tag says buy fast, and it's not just a cool license plate to have. It's kind of my motto. It's what I live by. When you see an opportunity, you've got to pounce fast on it. There's a saying, and it relates to a baseball term, and it says you can't steal home plate in slow motion. Meaning, when you see an opportunity there, you've got to get it, or else that becomes somebody else's opportunity. So I took plenty of notes, took plenty of pictures, came back, crunched the numbers, determined it needed a little bit over $34,000 to have it in retail condition. A landlord would probably spend half of that getting the property ready. I submitted an offer on um, August 2nd, so just a couple of days after looking at it. And it was cool because I got to submit the offer online. I offered $60,000 with a $1,250 earnest money deposit, 7-day inspection contingency. And some people will say, well, Vern, why'd you offer full price? Why not offer 40,000 or just 50,000? And the thing I want you to understand is sometimes properties are a deal at the list price. So you don't always offer lower just because when you do that, you sell yourself short. You miss out on deals. Your offer should have a rhyme and reason to it. Your offer should be based on what it's worth after it's fixed up and how much work the property needs. In this case, this property was a deal at list price. Now, the asset manager called me the same day that I made the offer, which doesn't happen often. And the asset manager said, well, the property was just under contract, so we'll accept your offer, but we want you to change the terms. Remove your 7-day inspection contingency and raise your earnest money deposit to $5,000. Get back to me in 24 hours and let me know if you agree to it. If you agree to it, we'll move forward with it. So I used my 24 hours to start marketing to my cash buyers. I started calling up my cash buyers and said, hey, I've got a deal. I sent this ad that you see. I emailed it out to him. Two houses for the price of one for $73,500. I broke down the repairs to him. I showed them what they'd be looking at to make monthly in rent. I showed them the projected profit from a rehab, so I laid it out to him. Based on the response I got, I knew the property would go quickly. So I called back on August 3rd to the asset manager, said, yes, I want the deal, and the offer was formally accepted. So that very same day, I do a full marketing blast. I mean, a full marketing onslaught. I blasted out to the rest of my list and online. Same ad, two houses for the price of one. Phone rings off the hook. The emails come in. People want this deal. It's not often you see two houses for that price. So on August 5th, I find a buyer at $69,500. Verified cash buyer. I collect a $5,000 earnest money deposit. I We signed the assignment of LLC agreement. Now, earlier in the presentation, I talked about um, the power of word of mouth marketing and networking. This buyer came through networking. I met the buyer at a real estate investment event maybe a week and a half prior to this deal, to me getting this deal under contract. So this buyer came because I opened my mouth. I went to an event and I networked. I said, I'm a wholesaler, and people wanted to get on my buyers list. On August 19th, while I was in Baltimore, I taking care of some Baltimore stuff. I stopped in to the Department of Assessments and Taxation, walked in and set up the LLC that I would be assigning at settlement. I was in and out in about 30 minutes. August 27th, settlement day. That was a good day. Uh, Cashed in on a $9,500 profit. This is a photocopy of the certified funds from my end buyer. So cashed out a $9,500 profit. You know, I don't care if it's Monday. I don't care what day of the week it is. Any day you make $9,500, it feels like Saturday, 4th of July, Christmas, New Year's, and your birthday all rolled into one. So let's talk about the tail of the tape. My profit, $9,500. The duration from the day I laid my eyes on this property to the day I got this $9,500 check in my hand, 29 days. My credit requirements were zip zero because I wasn't buying the property. My cash invested was zero. I mean, I had some soft cost, um, like any business has overhead, but my hard cost dedicated to this deal were really minimal. I mean, they were really zero. My hours invested, and I keep a running tally of how many hours I've been working on any one given deal. 7.5 hours, and that included everything I did for this deal. 7.5 hours. Profit per hour, $1,266. So that's good for a guy who's not a lawyer, not a brain surgeon, and isn't involved in an illicit or illegal activity. That's a pretty good hourly salary. These numbers make me more excited than anything else. I mean, even more than my profit are the numbers for the buyer. The buyer has a projected net rehab profit, net, of $56,000 after expenses. $56,000 should be their net rehab profit. The projected net monthly cash flow is $675 per month. That's net. And the cool part about that is that's assuming my buyer, who bought the property in cash and is doing the renovations in cash. That's assuming my buyer, when they're done, took a mortgage out on a property at 8%. That would be their monthly cash flow. My buyer's a cash buyer, so if they never put a mortgage on a property, their monthly cash flow on this thing is probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1,400 a month. That's pretty impressive. Um, and you have to become known for offering great deals like that to your buyers. That's what keeps them coming. So let's just recap. Wholesaling is a great way for new and experienced investors um, to make money. I'm a landlord. I do rehabs. I consider myself experienced, but I'll never consider wholesaling to be beneath me, or that I'm too good for wholesaling, or that I'm too busy to wholesale a great deal. Wholesaling is all leverage and it's pure profit. Learn maximum allowable offer, MAO. You've got to learn it. I see too many wholesalers try to sell crap and then they say wholesaling doesn't work. Well, no, wholesaling works. You're not doing it right. Learn maximum allowable offer and learn that great deals sell. As the example showed, great deals sell. The key to estimating repairs is breaking the home down into its components. How many windows? How many doors? How many bathrooms will you be redoing? How many rooms need carpet? How many rooms need paint? Etc. Break it down into pieces. Don't become overwhelmed by the entire house. The deals are out there, as I demonstrated. The buyers are out there. You should always be marketing. Always market. Word of mouth is a way of marketing. Always market. Always be looking for deals. Always be looking for buyers. You should never be at rest. Always market, looking for one and or the other. REO and bank owned properties are one deal source. This property was a REO property, but it's just one source. It's not the only source. Whatever source you're looking at, always look for motivation. I could talk about deal sources for 2 days straight. There are dozens of deal sources. REO is just one deal source, but it's not the only deal source. But once again, always look for motivation. That is the requirement for a good deal, is that you've got to motivate a seller. So that was Wholesaling 101. I hope you enjoyed this overview. I hope I was able to demystify wholesaling. Some people try to really make it seem more complicated than it is, and they add in smoke and mirrors and a bunch of crap. Wholesaling is pretty simple, so I hope I was able to convey that to you. I'll see you in the fast lane, and I'll see you at settlement.